This is episode 28 of the Latter-day Saint Geeks podcast. I'm Spencer, and I'm joined again with TJ as we discuss the Third Doctor.
Woo, more Doctor Who.
More Doctor Who. Always more Doctor Who. And as
Never
much
get
as
enough.
I had said, I was actually just editing our first Doctor Villains episode for our YouTube channel, and I had mentioned, like, okay, here on out, we're going to do villains right before we review the Doctor. But wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, guess what we're doing today? Just because it's October.
We
We're
are
doing
starting
villains
with
first.
villains today.
Yep.
Of course we
So,
are.
because why not? Because it's October, spooky season, villains, etc. So,
Yes, I absolutely agree. And it's all good. I mean, whatever. Who cares about the order? Nobody's really that
no one
disappointed
cares
that we
about this.
didn't start.
No one cares about this besides us. But
Nope.
that's okay.
That's
If
all
you do
good
have a
for us.
comment, if you do have a complaint about it, at least it means you're listening.
Hey, let me know. Let us know. I'm curious.
Yeah,
By
let
all
us know if
means.
you care enough.
And if you don't care enough, then comment that you don't care enough and you're happy that we have Doctor Who comments
And that
and podcasts.
to let us know that we spent the last 2 minutes discussing stuff that you didn't care about.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. Okay, so Spencer, you're going to give us a. Oh, you wanted Halloween or villain recommendations. You give your recommendation. I'm going to come up with
yes,
a
I
different one.
had
You.
asked you for, since it's October and we're doing spooky season, whatever, we're
Okay,
gonna
I'm
do
good.
Halloween slash villain recommendations. And my thought was Megamind. And I was discussing this with a coworker today, and Megamind is great villain story, blah blah blah, except that he sucks at being a villain. So
No, it's awesome. I like it when people start being villains.
yeah, and it was I mean, me and Russell discussed this on on episode 27 of the podcast, but just the whole idea of, like, the villains have their schemes, and then as time goes on, when they actually succeed in their scheme, all of a sudden it's like, wait, what? Now what do I do?
I
So
won, but now what?
yeah, it was the whole thing. We discussed it in the context of Lion King
Mm.
and Tangled. It's
Yeah, I
like
mean, Scar wins
it,
technically, and then he ruins everything.
yeah, it's like, now what? So, and in Megamind, we get to explore that. What happens when the villain wins and doesn't have any plan for after they win?
Well, it quite
When the
commonly what
win
the
is
villains do.
the mean and not the ends to mean, or whatever.
Yes, the win is not the win was not meant to be the win was meant to be the end, and yet it's not. So
Yep. All right. And
okay,
I'm not
so
gonna. I'm gonna be careful how many. I'm gonna let you go into your recommendation instead of me trying to verbalize it, because that's a whole thing.
that's your whole thing to say Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, because you're not supposed
Should I
to
say
say his name
Beetlejuice a
three
third?
times, right?
Well, three times in a row. I see that's the thing. So I'm recommending Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice for the 80s kids out there, I guess I would have to say, and 90s kids. I mean, by all means, given the intent of our podcast and whatnot to be cleaner, Beetlejuice as well as its sequel, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. I'm not afraid of him. Sorry, he can come haunt me. I've seen scarier. He the storyline and Beetlejuice himself being pretty much a demon. Um, it just fits with the Halloween recommendation. I saw the movie Beetlejuice Beetlejuice last month, which I thought was a really well done follow up, despite being what 35 years later.
Yeah, I thought it
So
was really random that they did a sequel to.
I have known that they have talked about doing a sequel since the 90s. I remember something in some I don't remember if it was an MTV when it started to go away from music videos. Something where they were talking about how Tim Burton and Winona Ryder had been discussing doing another Beetlejuice movie, and I've been seeing that hope out there for years and years. And I thought they did a really good job. as a follow up. You know, in the original movie you've got Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, and you do not have those characters actors there because of it wouldn't make as much sense. But on the flip side, I feel like they did a decent job in the story in the movie itself. It still felt like a Tim Burton movie, which it absolutely was. It had the Beetlejuice theme music. I believe that Danny Elfman even did the music for it. So it felt very much in line with the first movie. Um, you know, there's been a musical that they've done that's kind of based off the first movie, which doesn't really fit within that same world anymore. There's certain things in that musical that doesn't that the second movie has now removed as canon, so which is fine. It's not supposed to be the same exact story. But then Beetlejuice. I mean, you've also got Jenna Ortega portraying Astrid, uh, very not exactly a Wednesday character because when I saw the ads for it, I kind of looked like, wow, they made her up to look like Wednesday, and she pops up on the screen, and she doesn't actually quite look like Wednesday, nor does she behave like Wednesday. She just has that I don't care attitude that still fits both characters, and I think she does a really good job of portraying um, because she's not like flat in her humor with Wednesdays. So uh, I thought um, I thought Jenna Ortega did a good job. I was really happy to see this movie again. I felt or like see these characters again from the first movie that did pop up, and I thought they did a really good job with it. So I would recommend it. Although MacArthur's Park is a lot longer of a song than I realized it was, which if you've seen the movie, then you would know that what I mean. Anyway, so that's my villain um, movie recommendation. Halloween. I feel like Beetlejuice fits in that just fine.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean he is the undead, dead, whatever. But other villains. So we're going to talk about notable Third Doctor villains now.
So, and I mean,
So,
we've defined notable in our last two villain episodes, and
well, we should
in,
define it again for everybody.
I mean, I feel like it should go without saying that these are our opinions as well.
What? No, these are facts. These are objective.
No, this is hardcore fact.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. It is. This is subjective. This isn't objective. This is just our opinion. Some of them are villains' first appearances, or those who had an impact on the overall Doctor Who story, or those who are just enjoyable for the story, even if they don't ever appear again, which I think we kind
all
of
of
hit
ours this
on
time, except for
all
Omega.
three ideas here.
Yeah.
Well, Omega fits the last concept that they were enjoyable. Well, yeah,
No, he
he's
does
just
come
mentioned
back.
again, or does he appear again?
We'll get to that in a
Okay, so then
second.
they all come back. Okay,
So,
well, we don't have to talk about him now. We'll go back to the beginning here.
do we
Ish.
want to do
Well,
the
we're
order we
going out
have
of
them
order.
listed, or do you want to do the order they appear in?
I think the order. We
Set
normally
it
do the
not.
order they appear in, don't we?
Well, then let's start with the Autons.
Okay,
The,
let's start with the
the
Autons.
Autons are made of plastic, and they're controlled by the Nestine consciousness. They had multiple appearances throughout the Third Doctor, including being the first. They appeared in the first two season premieres with the Third Doctor, and
They're the
they
villain for the first. Well, yes, they are part of the villains. They're the villain in the season 7 premiere story, and they are the villain in the season 8 premiere. Yes, go ahead.
and they are notable for modern viewers of Doctor Who because, drum roll, they are the plastic mannequins that Rose encounters in the Ninth Doctor's first story.
So I mean,
So,
you got the third and the ninth Doctor who both encountered them, as well as um, them being like the first villain that we see those Doctors deal with.
yeah.
So
And
it's kind of a cool thing.
it's wonderful because it's such a simple monster, but in a Moffat-esque way, it makes us scared of something every day. It makes us
Hmm.
wary of what was it, plastic flowers?
Any mannequin. I mean, I think some of us were wary of mannequins before this, but yes, plastic flowers don't help either.
I'm just thinking of,
I
wasn't
want to say that was,
there was an episode, the episode where it was the master trying to use them. Wasn't
yeah,
there
it's the
something
second
about
one.
plastic flowers or
Yeah,
something?
there was, because the
Okay.
plastic flowers melted into something, or I don't
I
remember
don't remember
exactly anymore.
exactly. But I mean, then again, it also makes me think of, I have this one Facebook memory that pops up every year of a weekend that you and I were hanging out, and there was this really oddly formed child mannequin in a
Oh my gosh,
Spider-Man outfit. Do you
yes,
know what I'm talking about?
that was Halloween, like I don't know, 10
It was
years
like
ago, I
10
think.
years ago or something, but it was
Yep, it was
just
such a
like they,
weird.
because they had the mannequin positioned so that it made the child look pregnant or something.
Yep, and we just both agreed that it was an Auton.
Yeah,
Steer
pretty
clear
much.
of the Auton Spider-Man. Oh, that thing was creepy looking too.
Yeah, and it pops
Well,
up every year in my Facebook memories.
and the other thing about the Autons for modern Doctor Who fans is Rory became an Auton during
Oh, I didn't even think to include that, but you're right.
in the in yeah the fifth season finale of with Matt Smith and Amy in the Pandorica. Yeah, he is technically because he comes in when the Doctor fixes time, and Rory still remembers being plastic and being the last Centurion. But anyway, so the Autons they have like a big enough um, impact in Doctor Who history that I feel like that's definitely worthy to start with, since they are the first villain for the Third Doctor, and kind of a cool concept that they are the first villain for the Ninth Doctor. Um, and I don't think they've actually been seen since the Big Bang Pandorica Open two-part episode.
I mean, if we've seen them, it's been like here and there. They haven't had like
Yeah.
a. They haven't been the main villain of a story since Rose. I don't
Nope.
think
Because
they've appeared like when.
they're just part of it with the Pandorica,
Yeah.
with the Daleks and the
So every once in a
everybody.
while, we'll get the mention of the nesting consciousness, but
Yep.
haven't actually had them as a villain in a long while,
Nope.
or
And I
as
mean,
the
I'm not gonna
villain.
say they're due. Yeah.
I mean,
They're a fun one.
I'd welcome it. I wouldn't say no.
I'd welcome it because it's nice to see some stuff get not some stuff, some villains come back to see how they go. Okay, so that is the Autons.
The very next episode after we encounter the Autons for the first time, we have the Silurians. Um, they are Earth's prehistoric residents, which, honestly, their first story, because I watched modern Doctor Who first, I might have thought differently, but um, as compared to if I'd have watched them in reverse. But the Silurians episode in the Third Doctor era reminded me a lot of the Hungry Earth and everything that in the
Mm-hmm.
11th Doctor era. Um, they only appeared once with the Third Doctor, but were mentioned again alongside the Sea Devils, as relatives of the Silurians. They're not my favorite villains. They never really were, but at least we got Madame Vastra from them.
I
So
mean, you don't get Madame Vastra unless you've got the Silurians' history throughout this
it's
time
true,
frame. So,
and it's an
I mean,
interesting
I think it's
concept.
worth it.
They're not aliens. They're just former residents.
Yeah, along with everybody, everybody else. I thought that they were in one more story, but maybe I read that wrong. I know that there's the
Um,
Sea Devils, and that's not the same exactly.
yeah, you can fact check me if you want, but they came back in other stories, but I
Yeah,
don't
just not
recall
with
them
the.
being with the Third Doctor. But
Yep. Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
it's just one of those
Um,
things that, like, whether it's modern Doctor Who and we had humans and Silurians that refuse to get along, or whether it's classic Doctor Who and the brigadier decided to blow them up, or however
Oh
that
yeah,
went.
I wasn't happy with the Brigadier there.
So it's, I mean, it's one of those things where science fiction. Like I'm watching The Next Generation right now while we've got a trial of Paramount Plus, and so like Star Trek or Star Wars or whatever sci-fi, fantasy, whatever you want to watch. Talk about like making friends with other races and other whatever. I'm like, we can't even make friends with ourselves. Like,
Nope. I mean
let's
that's the way that it is.
let's start with making peace here. Which I mean, that's what Star Trek has done. Star Trek is a utopian future, right? So it's,
Well, I mean, it technically is. When you look at Earth and in the Star Trek universe,
well,
you
yes, the
have
Earth
First
is a
Contact that combines all the races together and for one good cause, and then it moves the whole human race forward. But that is its
that's not what's
own.
happening here. That's for sure.
That is not what's happening here. This is, hey, let's fight each other and let's fight each other within each other. I mean, this is from a
Peace was
from
never an
a
option.
well, I was going to say with a more religious perspective, and in the Book of Mormon, you've got Nephites fighting within Nephites a lot. You have Yormites who fight against the Nephites, and you see that infighting because peace is impossible in their mind because they have a selfish want. And that's exactly what you get with, I feel like, the Silurians and the humans, is that they both want to exist on the planet, but they don't want the other one on it. It's like, nope, nope,
Yeah.
no, you stay away. You stay away.
And
It's all mine.
without getting into politics, because I politics are not cool. They're even less cool than monks. Um, but it's a presidential election year,
Yeah,
and
let's not talk about that.
I just think that the way people talk about politics is like us
No,
versus them,
yeah.
and I'm sick of it.
I have,
The
every
left
four
blames
years
the
I
right, the
get
right blames the
frustrated.
left.
I get very frustrated every 4 years because I see we lost, they won, we won, they lost. I'm like, we all lose the more people use that concept. We're all going to lose if you see that as how it is. This is not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
If
it's
we're supposed
not
to be
us
one
versus them.
country,
It's we're all the human race.
well, and we're all one country in that concept too. But yes, with the Silurians, I mean, even the Silurians and the Sea Devils, technically being distant cousins, they don't even seem to get along themselves. So
Nope. Although of note, I know we're not going to discuss the Sea Devils in length here, but they are supposedly planning a mini series about the Sea Devils in Unit.
yeah,
I
I don't
don't
understand
know
the Sea Devil
why they're
portion
doing
of that.
that, but you can bet that we'll
I
talk
understand the
about it when
unit
that comes out.
side.
Oh yeah,
I totally
a
understand the
Unit
unit
spinoff
side.
has
I
always been a good idea.
don't understand at all why they chose the Sea Devils out of everything.
So
Okay, let's get
we'll see what Russell T Davies has up his sleeve for that, and you can bet that we'll talk about it when we get to that point,
yeah,
or when it's
whenever that
released.
happens.
Well, whenever it's
Uh,
released.
yeah, probably. So let's go
Moving
on to
on
our next villain. Specific villain, singular, because this is one repeated villain who repeats almost
with
as much as
many
the Daleks,
faces.
with many different faces, and of course, we've already mentioned him slash her, depending on which incarnation you want to talk about, but we are talking about the Master.
So, and as you said, that we've talked about the Master many times. Mostly in reference to our discussions about the monk in the first Doctor era. We've
Mm-hmm.
discussed the Master ad nauseum. There's my vocab word of the day or phrase, however it
Your
goes.
Latin for the day.
There we go. Latin is cool or something.
I don't think that the Doctor said that. That's why monks were not cool. But I
Okay.
mean, but the master. We also, I think, referred to the master when we talked about the war
Oh, that's
chief,
right. The war chief warlord
war
scenario.
chief, war chief.
Yeah, that's why I just said
I'm gonna
both of them
stick with
because
it.
then I would be right either way.
Well, you're only half right because you've clicked both boxes and only one box is correct. So,
Curses.
yep. So, anyway, the master. Master is the Doctor's like greatest enemy, but also his greatest friend. I mean, I know the Daleks are technically the master or the Doctor's biggest enemy, but the Master, in
Yeah,
his own right, in her
don't say
right,
that Davros and the Daleks are his arch nemesis or anything, because didn't Missy get
no.
offended by that?
Of course Missy did. Well, and then
Of
Missy got
course.
offended when Clara tried to say that she was the Doctor's best friend, and Missy's like, no, I'm his best friend with the
I
um,
mean, the Master
with the
is
little
certainly his
thing.
oldest friend.
Oh yeah,
Um, at this point, we know very little about the Master. At this point, being the
at the
Third
point in
Doctor
the Third
era.
Doctor, yeah.
But I
I
mean, we get
mean, to be
more and
fair, we
more
still
with
know
each.
very little about the Master.
I
But I
mean, we
mean,
could
we've
insert
had.
your theory here about him being the timeless child, but
I maintain that the Master is the timeless child. That would be the best fix that Doctor Who could even do in my mind. But of course not.
but
I believe we've had now technically 9 incarnations of the Master that we've seen.
well, let's see. We've
The,
got the one that the Third Doctor era one.
yep, the one
We've
that we're
got
talking
the
about.
decaying one,
Am I
the
not
one
showing?
with
I'm
the
still
stolen
sharing my
face,
screen, right? Here. Can you see this picture? You got one,
well,
two,
sort of.
three,
I
four,
can
five, six.
see.
Hold on.
There we go. Oh, zooming.
That is ugly now from my perspective, but you got 9 here.
Well, the decaying master is all one incarnation, I believe.
Oh, oh, is it? Just different actor.
Although I'll give you this.
Guess that would make sense.
So TJ's got on his screen a 3x3 setup of the different people that have played the master. The two ones that are the decaying master, I believe that's the same incarnation. However, so we've got
You have the Roger Delgado master, you've got the 2 decaying masters, and then you've got
which
Anthony
are the two decaying
Ainley,
masters are
who
probably
plays
the
the
same
master for the
thing. So,
last.
and then the one
Yeah.
from the Eighth Doctor movie, um, we don't know which body he had before he was exterminated. So that could be the same as the one that we saw throughout classic Doctor Who, or it could be a different one. But yeah, the picture in question shows 8 different incarnations of the Master, 9 different actors. Um,
Yep.
and we're likely to get the Master again in the future because that was alluded to in the 60th anniversary. Even though, like we've discussed, we'd happily have the Ronnie or Romana or any number of Time Lords just to get some variety.
Yep. There's a big variety of master actors. Um, but of course, this is the Roger Delgado master that we're talking about here.
Yep.
Specifically, the very
And
first one. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to say, I think, with the Master, especially since this is an early incarnation. But one of the things I find really awesome about the Master, and definitely with the Third Doctor, why he is so significant and notable, is the fact that he does appear in the majority of pretty much all of season 8, um, as well as a lot
he just
of
keeps coming back.
seasons 9 and 10. Um, he just keeps coming back, and I think that was a really clever way to have a. I mean, when he first appears, he even has the sound of the
Mhm.
TARDIS whooshing. Let me say that again. When he first appears, he has the sound of the TARDIS that everybody's familiar with, but he comes in a his chameleon circuit is clearly working just fine, and unlike
Mhm.
the Doctor's, of course.
But just like with the monk,
So
has to miss at some point.
anyway, we can move
I
on
mean,
now.
one last thing I'll say with two last things I'll say about the Master is one, we've got the whole trying to make deals with everyone to create chaos that always works out so well when you.
Yep. Oh my gosh, and he's always
And
so
then
stupid with it.
two, I mean, at some point we're gonna have to rank the Masters, I suppose, just like we talked about ranking Masters.
Probably. And I had never seen any of the Master episodes with this Master, I should say. I had never seen any of the first Master episodes um, before starting this watch through, and I'm extremely impressed with him as the Master. Other than, man, dude, you make a lot of bad choices if you think you can control a million different races that keep turning on you. So he does have a weird
So also, he's
recurring
a lot
theme
more
to him.
deliberate and calculating than like
Next up,
Missy and the Spy Master
yes.
and Saxon are all just a bit chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Calculating, but chaotic. This master was more calm and collected.
Yes.
So
Yep. He had his he just for whatever reason wanted complete control, and he kept
yep.
making deals with the wrong people because they would go back on their deal with him, and he put him in trouble, and the doctor had to rescue the master half the time, which I think adds to the friendship frenemy enemy concept with the
Yeah.
doctor
All
and the
right, let's
master.
move on to the next one, Omega.
Um, Omega is in what people will find out later, but I'm not gonna have a problem
Yeah,
spoiling here. Spoilers on
just
something
gonna
that's
put
old, but it's
River
personal opinion
into it.
anyway.
Spoilers,
But
spoilers.
but the spoilers. But it's not even really spoiling. It's spoiling future podcast episodes. But the Omega is the villain in my
Oh,
favorite
easily.
episode
I
of
think
or
it, I think
story
it
of
is.
this
He's
of the Third Doctor's
the
era.
Three Doctors is for both of us. It's hard to beat that anniversary story.
Yeah, I mean it's also tied for the highest rated story with for the Third Doctor. So it's not just our opinion at that
It's in
point.
the ratings, in fact.
But it is he is a very classic. Yeah, it's that way. It's a fact still. Um, his character, the thing is as much as I'm like I can talk about Omega, I in my mind I just think about the three doctors being, especially two and three, of course, being together. So I don't have as much to say about Omega other than he is, um, kind of an interesting Time Lord who uh, made
I mean, he's
made
the
an
Time
impact
Lord that made time
elsewhere,
travel
but
possible.
um,
If it weren't for him, the Time Lords would just be lords.
yep,
Um, we get mentioned that
yes,
it's him who invented the black hole, which I think the 10th Doctor kind of alludes to when they're circling around the Satan planet, or they're on the Satan planet circling the black hole. I can't remember.
yeah,
It's been a long time since I've watched the 10th Doctor, which is a shame. Um, Omega
we'll get there.
reappeared in the Arc of Infinity, which I don't remember that happening, but it's also been so long since I've watched the Fifth Doctor that again we'll get there too. But I do remember because it was one of my favorite
Yep,
Seventh Doctor stories. That the Seventh Doctor and Ace later recover this artifact called the Hand of Omega.
the Hand of
So
Omega.
we'll have to see how that all plays out as we get there. But he was stuck in this antimatter world so long that he slowly lost his body, only leaving his mind and
Yep.
will. So I don't know how it would play out, but it's interesting to see him again in some
I
form or
mean,
fashion. I don't know how we would do that
it
because
would
he's got
be.
no form, but it would be
It would
cool.
almost. Well, the Great Intelligence didn't have a
Yeah, but the
form.
Great
They
Intelligence
could
never
find a
didn't
way.
have a form to begin with, but
So,
then, but Omega did start out as a being, so
yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Again, I mean, kind of moving around with the concept. Timey-wimey. It's all fine. Be funny to have them like run into an older
Always
version,
possible.
a younger version
Always possible.
of Omega. I don't know. Pre.
All right.
Yep.
Anything else you want to see on Omega?
Um. Yep. I really don't have a whole lot other than I kind of the doctors
Yeah.
that felt bad for Omega in the end, and I kind of feel like even despite being a villain, uh, you kind of start to feel bad for Omega by the time that story ends.
So
So
we'll discuss. Yeah, and we'll
okay, yeah,
discuss
we can go
Omega
on to
more
our
when we
final
talk about
villain.
the Three Doctors.
But go ahead.
All right.
Yep, definitely. I might have to
Oh,
rewatch the
definitely.
Three Doctors just for the fun of it at
Um,
that point.
our last villain only appears once, I believe, with the Third Doctor. but recurs so much throughout classic and modern Doctor Who that
Yep,
I felt we had to mention the Sontarans, the psychotic potato dwarfs.
definitely. Cicado potato dwarfs. So just to point out something here before we talk too much about Santarans, the Autons first appeared and were villains for Liz, who is the Third Doctor's first companion.
Liz.
The Silurians also first appear with her. Auton's Return, as well as the Master and Omega, they are all villains for Joe's time. And so the Sotarans are the only one that we're talking about with Sarah Jane Smith, who is one of the most popular
Yeah,
Doctor
I
Who
didn't make the
companions of all
connection,
time. And these are also the very first
and it didn't even occur to me
villains that
that
she
the Master
meets.
doesn't even appear during her
What
time.
was
She
that?
doesn't meet the Master until I don't know that she ever met the Master on screen.
No. I don't know that
Probably
she
voted
meets
for
the Master on
Saxon, but
screen.
that's a different
Yeah,
role. Where
she might have. I don't know. She was
Mr.
pretty on
Smith would
top
have
of things,
protected
so she
her.
might have been like, "You're too creepy for me."
But we'll get to
Yep.
Sarah Jane.
Um, but I feel like, and we'll talk about Sarah Jane, of course, more. I
Okay,
just wanted to
no, it
point
is
that out, kind
interesting.
of an interesting tidbit, of how many.
Yeah,
But Santarans being her first villain. I mean, she goes in the TARDIS with the Doctor and ends up back in
uh,
time.
yeah,
Um,
and we only meet
and
one
then
Sontaran story, if
they
I recall.
revealed at the end of the first.
We only meet one Sontaran
Only what?
in that story, if I recall.
I thought there was more than one,
Um,
but I can't remember exactly. It's been a little bit. I'm on I'm actually not too far ahead. I'm on the next season still of where I'm at in my watching. I
I've
haven't
got
gotten
the
too far
genesis of
ahead
the
yet.
Daleks next,
Um,
um,
but that's what I'm
okay.
on right now. That's
But
I'm in the
yeah, the
middle of that.
Sontaran, clone race made
Anyway,
for an endless war that their mortal enemies, the Routons, which I can't even remember if we even meet them at any point. We'll have to find out as we go along. Um, but they're made for war, and they've
yeah,
been warring with the Routons so long that they don't even know why they're at war anymore. But they continue to appear
nope.
throughout classic Doctor Who and modern Doctor Who. And we even had a Sontaran appear in the Sarah Jane Adventures. So she even got to encounter a psychotic potato dwarf in her spin-off multiple times.
And I mean the other thing to point out here, and another reason why Suntarns become significant with the Third Doctor. Again, this is their first appearance as alien race and specifically villain race. But the Silurians and the Suntarans have something in common, as they are both. Without those two, we don't
Madame
have.
Vastra and Strax.
Um, Now suddenly my mind is dropped. Madame Vastra and Strax. Thank you. Could not come up with Madame Vastra. I had Jenny, and then I had her real name, which now I don't have anymore.
Okay,
The actress's name. But
now
anyway,
because of the
so
third
yes,
Doctor, we have humans and
we get
Silurians and
Strax.
Sontarans.
Yeah, I don't
But
think
now
we
we
had
have all
humans
three.
because of the Third Doctor, but yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
That is very
He
true.
encountered some nasty humans, so
But we love Strax. We love
that's fine
our
too.
potato dwarf.
We love our psychotic potato dwarf. I mean, the other thing the thing that I've always I don't know what the choice was, why this was the choice, but when they first reveal the Centaurian, he takes his helmet off, not his head, his helmet off, and he just is standing there like his tongue coming in and out of his mouth, like as if it's some sort of weird tick. And I don't understand that. I'm like, what is with his tongue, and what is he doing? Um, but I mean, they're also time traveling race. Um, which adds to their
Oh yeah,
danger
and I believe when we get to
as
the into the
being
fourth Doctor, there is
um,
some significant time traveling danger that goes on with them and Gallifrey and everything.
Yep. I'm trying to see. I don't. What is the name of the? Is his name Lynx? Is he the? Is that the name of the
I don't
Centauran?
remember. The only one I remember is Strax.
Why do I want to say that? Common Commander Lynx is. I know. Yep, he's a Centauran. So yeah, there were more than just one Centaurans because I think Lynx gets. No, maybe not. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Anyway, um,
I will say we keep calling them
yeah,
potatoes,
okay.
but my
It
daughter
is just Lynx.
was around when I was watching the Sontaran
They're
experiment with
not.
the Fourth Doctor, and she asked why his head was a rock.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I kind of have seen that too. I was wondering why they were shaped like
I mean, the
my first
modern
thought
ones
was
I can
rock
totally
when
get
I
the
saw
potato.
the 10th Doctor
The
encountering
modern
with
ones
Donna.
look a lot more like.
Yeah. And they all like their costumes are a little different obviously, but then the shape of their heads is vastly different, I feel like, between classic and modern Who. But I think the Sontarans are they're almost like the Ferengi in Star Trek: The Next Generation, where they have their danger, but they're almost more comical because of who they are. And it's not necessarily the Ferengi with Star Trek was unintentional. It just came across that way, and they just went with it once they realized it. Um, in in Doctor Who, and I kind of feel like they they didn't have that. You just don't take the Sontarans as seriously as you could. Um, and I think that they're just an extra
Grenades.
villain, and they have their enough comical sides to them, and then they add
She
in
was wondering if
Strax.
it could
So
use any grenades. She may have said help.
yes, pretty much. I mean, I can imagine Madame Vastra asking about grenades, but
Yep.
um, yeah, and I don't have too much more to talk about with Sontarans. I do think the third Doctor
Oh,
had some great
definitely.
stories that we'll talk about later, and I think that the third Doctor had some
I think
good
the most
villains,
significant thing about the Third Doctor's
even if they
villains is
weren't
that they
the
keep coming
greatest
back.
of all time.
You know, the Third Doctor didn't just have good villains, but
Yep.
he had villains that were worth coming back to over and over.
And even crappy ones that they had with the oh, which one is it? Peladon, like the crappy that planet, which I still to this day don't understand why.
We
We went
did,
there
and it's
twice, but
fine.
we did once with Sarah Jane, once with Joe, and I mean there was even in that world that there's villains there. The Master brings in all kinds of things just to try to fight
But also, I feel like
with the
because maybe
Doctor.
it was because the Doctor was stuck on Earth during this era for a good chunk of it. But there's also just a good chunk of the Third Doctor that
hmm
shows just the nasty side of the human race too. Like the there's the aliens, but then
Yeah,
there's humans like the Master who want to make deals with aliens or because of their own,
yep,
pride and hubris, they end up creating what
yep.
worse than aliens.
Well, and you even have kind of the fall of a because we've got Captain Yates, who I think starts off
I
with
think
the
you're
third
right.
Doctor. I don't think he comes before then, and he just kind of. I don't have any problems with Mike Yates until Invasion of the Dinosaurs and Planet of the Spiders, and he basically becomes like
He like
a
lets himself
rogue
get
or a
brainwashed, and then he tries
more
to redeem
neutral
himself,
character,
and then he
less favorable. Yeah, he just ruined himself and with Planet of the Spiders. I'm just like he kind of was helping and kind of not. Like I did not understand who he was at that point anymore. Especially Invasion of the Dinosaurs. That just fun story. But it almost made him out to be a villain because of the fact that he had been such a strong part of UNIT and such a positive thing. I mean, he helped Joe all the time, and now this is the first time that he really is with Sarah Jane, and it just I don't know. It felt like it kind of
Yeah.
hurt who he was at that point. Um,
But we'll talk more about
but
him with companions, I
yeah.
think.
Anyway,
Even just
we can we'll talk more about him. Yeah, he's considered a companion. Yeah, I forgot about that. But I like it, but again, talking about how they have such a decent amount of villains with the Third Doctor, even though the Master is recurring throughout almost through those seasons, he still
plenty of other.
has he brings with him
Yeah.
something else. It's not just him.
Or if it is him, it's the humans with
Um,
him.
and that's I think that is adds to it.
So,
Yep, exactly.
of
Or
course,
somebody he's
because that's the
manipulated in
master.
some way because the Master is manipulative. So, yep. Okay, well, thank you for listening, everyone. Appreciate it. Whoever's listened. And as you know, alien abductions are involuntary, but probings are scheduled.